Is this the second assassination attempt on President Trump? Because the chaos we just witnessed on the White House about 12 hours ago has America asking some serious questions. But to really understand what's really going on here, I think we should rewind back to the first assassination attempt.
Take a look at what happened.
Hold that in your head, it's bloody.
So we gotta move to the classroom.
Now fast forward to today. Chaos just broke out again at the White House and only 1 block away.
Around midnight last night, Secret Service personnel encountered the individual's vehicle parked around near 17th and F Street Northwest. Short time later, they observed an individual on foot matching the description. As officers approached, the individual brandished a firearm, at which time an armed encounter ensued and Secret Service personnel discharged their service weapons.
So an armed individual traveled all the way from Indiana all the way to DC, matching a description the police already had. And at the moment Secret Service made contact, it evolved into a shootout. Let me show you what mainstream media is just now starting to admit.
As this information just coming in from the Secret Service, providing this lengthy statement here after a shooting involving a man near the White House. Obviously, the type kind of small there, but I am going to read the statement for you. On Sunday, March 9th, an adult male was shot by U.S. Secret Service personnel following an armed confrontation with law enforcement in D.C. Earlier Saturday, local police shared information about a suicidal individual who may be traveling to Washington, D.C. from Indiana. Around midnight, members of the Secret Service encountered the individual's parked vehicle near 17th and F Streets Northwest. Now, they also saw an individual on foot matching the description nearby. As officers approached, the individual brandished a firearm and an armed confrontation ensued, during which shots were fired by our personnel. The suspect was transported to an area hospital, his condition unknown. There were no reported injuries to Secret Service personnel. The incident is under investigation by the Metro Police Department Internal Affairs Division's Force Investigations Team, which investigates all law enforcement officer-involved shootings in the District of Columbia. Again,
now let's be real. This isn't the first time it's happened. This is the second attempt on Trump's life. The first time it happened under Biden's watch. Where is the accountability? How are these threats just slipping through? I'm glad now that the threat came into firm confrontation before anything could happen, and they stopped it before it could get anywhere. They stopped it in a block away from the White House. But where are these threats coming from? It has to come from the inside, right? Maybe Trump needs to do a little bit more snooping into the inside of the White House and see where's the information leaking. Who wants to kill Donald Trump and why? Now, my next question is, why isn't CNN covering any of this? I looked on the website, and I also looked on YouTube, and I didn't see any news coverage around this. Why? Everything CNN covers is negativity around Trump, but when it's another assassination attempt or something drastic like this, nobody is covering it. Why is that? I mean, maybe it's the usual. The left is silent or they're distracted. In fact, like I stated before, the story hasn't even been covered by the left at all. And if they do try to cover it, I'm sure they will try to say that it was nothing. Oh, it was nothing, that it was a shootout outside the White House. It's funny how the mainstream media, CNN, covers everything when it only suits them. Trump
For more on this, let's bring in former New York State Homeland Security Advisor Michael Balboni. Mr. Balboni, thanks for joining us this afternoon. You know, the White House complex really does seem to draw this type of thing. How does the U.S. Secret Service combat that?
Secret Service has developed a 360-degree, multiple layers of defense, where obviously you have the physical protection of the White House itself, and then you have numerous cameras and surveillance. You have great intelligence, which is what this case, by the way, showed, that you had information that this individual was going to be in the area possibly, and they had additional information. That's the most important element in trying to prevent something, as opposed to just responding to it. But you know, this fits into a larger piece. Obviously, the 2 attempted assassinations of the president, these have raised huge issues as to what the Secret Service knew beforehand, before the events, and how the individuals were able to get into the positions, whether in Butler, Pennsylvania, or in Florida itself. Obviously, the case with the Florida shooter is going to be going to court. There's a bunch of legal proceedings going on right now. But again, raising big questions as to how someone could be lying in wait for 12 hours outside of a golf course. So it raises all sorts of issues, especially when you have somebody as high profile and in many circles as controversial as President Trump.
There have been
Even security experts are saying it. There's a huge issue in the way our Secret Service is operating. Maybe under Trump it's gotten a little better, but it's still issues. And after the Butler and Florida incident, it's obvious Trump is still a target. And if these patterns continue, it can even get worse in time. And don't forget, this is just a few weeks after leaderships have changed. Trump hasn't even been in office for a full 60 days. So the real question today is, why isn't this being covered by CNN? They cover everything else. I mean, why isn't this being taken way more seriously by the left? They just did horrible at the White House meeting, not honoring, kids with cancer. And why aren't the Democrats speaking up about this? And if this is really a second attempt on the president's life, what happens if it's a third? Leave your comments below and let me know what you guys think about this. Is this something to be concerned about? Would you like the left to speak up more? Or is this something we should just brush up under the rug? Stay alert, stay awake, and I will keep covering what the media won't.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping now.